Good evening. I'm so thrilled to see you all this evening. I'm Georgia Mason. I'm director of the Campbell Centre for the Study of Animal Welfare, CCSAW. And CCSAW is hosting a series of Indigenous speakers on animal issues this semester, really as a deliberate attempt to regain some of the knowledge and wisdom that's been lost, well, not lost, but almost in danger of being lost as part of the cultural and real genocide that's happened here in Canada. So it's really fantastic. The series kicked off with our very own Jessie Pop, and I'm thrilled to see Wendy Phillips here today. I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement and to recognise the Mississaugas of the Credit, the First Nation of the Anishinaabe people, on whose treaty lands we reside and work here in Guelph. I'll return after the presentation with a little bit more detail on local Indigenous history for you, and I will stop burbling and I will hand you over to Quinn, who's going to introduce our speaker for today. Quinn.
Beautiful, thank you, Georgia. So today is my absolute pleasure to introduce Elder Wendy Phillips. Wendy is Potawatomi and Ojibwe and a member of Wasauksing First Nation. She currently provides support to students, staff, and faculty at Queen's University. But on top of that, Wendy is a master's candidate in the School of Environmental Studies with York University. She is a graduate from Trent University with an honors degree in Indigenous Studies with a minor in Business Administration. She has also graduated from Fleming College with a diploma in Career and Work Counseling and George Brown College with a certificate in Life Skill Coaching. And on top of all of that, in 2018, Wendy was awarded the Community Medal, and she was also a recipient of the Remarkable Women Award. So we are so honored to have Elder Wendy Phillips here today to discuss Indigenous ways of knowing about animals. So with that, I will pass it over to you, Wendy.
Great, thank you, Quinn. Thank you, Georgia. It's great to be here. And I'm going to share my screen. And my apologies for turning off my video. I'm hoping that my technology will cooperate with me. This is, we're in a rural area, so technology doesn't often cooperate with us. So this is some of the difficulties that we deal with here. So this is something that, you know, we tend to have to do things a little bit differently. So I'll turn on the video again once the presentation slides are done. And we'll begin with an opening. So bonjour, megzito dem, wedo kaza bejgot Indigenous cause, Wasauksing the Dunji, Kiwim Zibin and Dunjba, Jamen Magge Parwad Mean Dao, Chimigwaj Kanagag Gogajato, Chimigwaj Nation Gishgat, Chimigwaj Asokan, Asokanak, and Chimigwaj Wabramado, Jamramado, Frenchmakmado, Giwadmado. At this time, we come together and we're going to be talking about many things. So this is, we acknowledge that we're going to be speaking of beings. And so we like to give our gratitude for other beings that may also be joining us as well. So at this time, just another things for introduction. I'm of the Bald Eagle clan, and I'm from Wasauksing First Nation. And so for myself, there's other things, and we got a pretty big family, and then as a ceremonialist, I do carry other responsibilities in regards to our culture and our ways of knowing. So there's many things as to understanding Indigenous knowledge. And one of the things I will mention, again, towards the end is value of Indigenous knowledge. And one of the things that, we're nervous about, that is how knowledge is used, and especially when it comes to Indigenous knowledge. So we usually ask people, when you hear something or Google something or, find something on YouTube or some website, that you acknowledge, the knowledge where you're hearing it from. So that's something we're asking people, to recognize, whether they're elders or knowledge keepers or whoever it might be, like, especially with the, issues of things, of technology, that we're asking people to be respectful of the knowledge. And so, because we do go through our own learning processes as Indigenous people as to how knowledge has been passed on from one generation to the next. So one of the things that always, for us, as Indigenous people, is the Bering Strait theory is usually not a theory, is not accepted for us as Indigenous people. And so what this means is our relationship to the land and our creation stories, we have our own origins as to where we have come from and our relationships to the land. So this is a theory that most Indigenous nations don't accept. This is the Royal Proclamation, and this is a very important document as to, this is the beginning of what you all know as Canada. And this is also the relationships with the Indigenous people here. And what this is very important for us is, it is a document that honors and is to uphold the treaties that exist here. And this is something that for us, that when we talk about land title, this also is recognized in this as well. So very important document, especially when we talk about land and relationship to land. One of the important aspects to understanding land, and especially with Canadian law, is understanding the terminology of terra nullius. And this is a Latin word that sadly is defined as no man's land. So there's many issues to this as to, one, this is why, the Bering Strait theory is used, that it is saying that we did not originate from here. And so justifying this is like land that's where we're not entitled to it is basically what this is saying. And because of the Bering Strait theory, and because Columbus also discovered it as well. So there's many issues as to this terminology and the doctrine of discovery, that sadly, when we look at these types of theories, sadly they don't help us when we talk about laws in regards to dealing with Canada. So this is a very important one when we look at issues dealing with Canada. This is a clause described as a passage of time. And this is very important to understand when we talk about treaties. And so this is something that, some of the arguments that have been made with land claims and different issues is passage of time. And so the major issues is that for us as Indigenous people, we have to prove based on our treaty that we existed there from that time. So my treaty is a Huron-Robinson treaty. And this is, some of the difficulties is, when we talk about this, is we got to prove everything. as to our relationship to the land and how we got there and how we functioned in 1850. A non-Indigenous person does not have to do this. So this is, when we talk about the unfairness with the Canadian justice system towards Indigenous people, that we still have to do this today. This is something how, one of the things I remember from my family and my parents especially, growing up, was that it was very frustrating. I had to learn things, how we functioned in 1850 and prior to, because of this clause. They said that, for us as Indigenous people, we're going to have to prove who we are. And so my parents ensured that I was taught how things functioned in 1850 and prior to, so that if we were ever questioned, that we would be able to be able to explain these things of this type of terminology. So some of the things that also sadly have also occurred as well, and this is a document that most of you probably are familiar with. It's the Indian Act. It was enacted in 1876. This is one that removed Indigenous people from their traditional territories and put them onto reserves. Most of these nations and communities then were usually forced into a governance system that was not theirs. The other aspect is that a lot of them lost land title. The other aspect that also occurred, and this is in 1880, that a lot of the farms, and this is the thing that honestly hasn't even changed even to this day, is that we need a permit to sell any produce that's made from farming. Other things is we needed a permit to go buy clothes, supplies, food, any materials for building or structures. In 1885, all spiritual ceremonies were banned. The other thing that was also implemented was a pass system. So this is where we needed permission from an Indian agent to leave the reserve. And this is some of the treaties. These were the original numbered treaties across Canada. Today, there's more treaties that have occurred in other regions throughout Canada. This is the Huron-Robinson Treaty of 1850. It has been more recently challenged for many issues. As a member of Wasauksing First Nation, so our annual dues that we receive from this treaty is $4 a year. And this is what each member receives every year, September 26th. And each member gets a $4 check from the federal government since 1850. And it's been like that since. So a lot of us today, we sort of laugh and, find it, that you can't even buy, like a cup of coffee now for that. So this is, some of the treaties that, we speak about, that a lot of them have been reviewed and challenged. And this is, some of the, when we talk about prime ministers, this is the first prime minister, Sir John A. Macdonald. And this is, one of the statements he had made. And this is, talking about the assimilation of our people. And so this is a quote from 1887, and the intention that, to target our people And this is why, you know, you see documents like the Indian Act putting through some very aggressive policies. And this is one of the major policies that they had implemented was the residential schools. So all of those dots across the country are residential schools. This does not include other residential schools that existed. There's day schools. There was also training schools. There was vocational schools. There was also military schools, and there was also like a hospital. So different, excuse me, different hospitals would also house as well different communities. And so sadly, you know, a lot of the residential school claims are just only these schools alone. So they're excluding all those other ones I mentioned. So this is, you know, what we're paying attention to right now are just the formal residential schools. So this is a stat that is from, you know, 1 in 25 children most likely would pass away being in one of these schools. And this is a stat from World War II, 1 in 26 would survive. And so I wanted to mention our worldview, and this is very important to understand Indigenous knowledge. I mentioned what I did because it is important to understand our current situation, that those things will impact, especially how our people think today. So what I'm going to share with you is Indigenous knowledge. This is for different nations. You know, we'll have different teachings. This is what I'm sharing with you is an Anishinaabe Ojibwe perspective. So meaning that we have hundreds of nations across Turtle Island, and each of these nations are different. They're unique. They sometimes have different languages. This is, some may have different laws, different ceremonies, different customs, and some may be very similar to one another, but there may be some major differences. So that's something I just wanted to mention before we proceed. So for us, as when we talk about how knowledge is passed on, it's through oral tradition. And this is very important concept to us, is your word. And in our philosophy that you come in this world with nothing and you leave this world with nothing. The only thing you own is your word. So your word is your integrity. So who you are is based on your word. So how your character is judged is based on your word. So how you honor your words and living up to your words is very important then. So this is for us what this word means, and in Dagwat it is permitting. So when we talk about a tobacco tie, often we give tobacco as an offering, and this is for us what we talk about is to permit one person. So a lot of times it's a request. So a lot of times tobacco is given in a form usually of a tobacco tie or a tobacco pouch, or some people give cigarettes or, you know, bags of tobacco. And this is for us very important, because this is what this terminology is explaining, is that I'm given permission to share just at this time. So meaning from from 6 till 7 o'clock, I'm permitted to be allowed to speak to each of you, just only at this time. And so that's what that tobacco is speaking about, that I'm granted this time to speak. So this is for us a very important concept when we talk about teachings, when we talk about especially traditional knowledge and sharing of traditional knowledge. So a very important concept to us. The other worldview aspect is on time, very different. Western ideology looks at time as a very linear aspect. For us, it is a very different perspective. For us, time can exist simultaneously, meaning that past, present, and future can exist at once. So we have many teachings and laws about time. And so for us, this is another very big concept that has a lot of teachings within itself, and possibly a lot of consequence as well. So this is a very important concept to us, and very different, and like comparing it to Western ideology. The other worldview for us is everything is based on the earth. So our language, everything we do, our ceremonies, our customs, like a lot of our values and practices and rituals and all of those things are based upon the earth. There's for us, such a great relationship that we have. And so we look at the earth as our true mother. So she gives to each of us. So everything that we eat, everything we drink, everything we, have made comes from her. And so this is why we give gratitude to her. And so the other aspect is our wheels. And so we have many different types of medicine wheels, and each of them mean different things. Like I wanted to mention the 4 directions is for us one of the major teachings that we talk about as Anishinaabe people, and especially for the time that we're in right now with multiculturalism, that we share this territory now. So for us, there's many important teachings that for us that we can learn from this. And so how to have good relationships, and for us, when we look at the concepts of we're a great human family. So we have different laws, and this is for us when we talk about our creation story, that we have great laws and universal laws and natural laws and tribal laws. And so for us, this is, it would take a long time to go through these. And so this is for us, I just wanted to mention tonight that, for the purpose of understanding Indigenous knowledge, that and Indigenous ways of knowing, that it is based on our laws. And so this is something that sadly, Western ideology ignores, doesn't recognize our laws. And so this is something that for us, we sadly been dismissed in having that type of knowledge. But for us, we have many. So it would take a long time to go through them all. But that's what I wanted to mention for this presentation, and some of it will come up again in a few minutes. Say Anishinaabe. This has many meanings to us. Our language is inanimate and animate. That is for us we describe it. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that this is also for us, when we talk about our language, that it's also has many breakdowns. Your common dictionary, whether it's Oxford or whatever, will usually only have 2 definitions. And for us, some of our words have multiple definitions. And so meaning that it has the capability of breaking down into multiple different dimensions that we speak about. And so the idea is that we can take then that word to be able to break it down in that type of meaning. So for us, that's one of the things when we talk about the meanings of things. The other thing when we talk about creation stories is, for us, our process of creation stories, talking about the minerals and our relationships to them, and the plants, and then the next is the animal kingdom. And this is for us where we look at our relationship to the animals. And this is for us, they give us many gifts. And this is one of the things that I wanted to mention is we have a calendar system that records our history. So for us, our history goes back millions upon millions of years. And this is for us, when we talk about our laws, that we have tribal laws. And this is, again, our tribal laws, and this is something that, is how we govern ourselves as a nation. And so this is for us some of the images that this comes from an image that was on our scrolls. And so it describes that there were 6 beings. And so the 5 that are upright, they lived, and the one that's sideways is the one that died. So this is for us when we describe these beings, is that they were not human-like. So that's one of the things that we describe. So this is for us, when we talk about these beings, that when they came into the atmosphere, they had a difficult time. And so this is, some of the things that they speak about is that it made them unwell. And so the time that they spent with us, they shared knowledge to heal, and they shared knowledge for leadership and for taking care of our community. And so this is for us, the 5 then were able to help, and they got healthy. And so these are the areas that they helped in, was to be able to provide and to protect and to teach. And so this is something that for us, these beings were able to teach us. So this is, and when we begin looking at the roles of our clan system, that this is where for us, the animal kingdom enters this clan system. So under the providers, so this is our hunters and our gatherers. So this is for us what we describe as, you know, like mostly like four-legged. So the head one is the marten, and under that is other animals. So this is based on territory. So it could be that some northern communities may have caribou, or, you know, elk, and you know, down here might be like moose and deer. So this is where for us, it might change based on territory. And then the protectors is the head one's a bear, and under there is the other carnivores. So the wolves and the lynx. For leadership, it's the birds. The head one's a crane, and under that are all the other birds. So the eagles and hawks and owls and all the other birds. And then for healers is the turtle, and then all the other reptiles are under them. And then for the teachers, it's fish. So the catfish, and then all the other fish. So this is for us, the clan system. So even under my clan, that like I'm under the crane. So our responsibility is of leadership. So this is you know, our clans are to maintain our laws. So our great laws are universal laws and natural laws and tribal laws. It also teaches, you know, our morals, and it also sustains our community, and it gives you a place to belong. And this is something that for us, you're born into a clan. So for us, you, as Anishinaabe, you get your clan through your father. And so that's how we say that, you know, you get your clan through your father, and through generation after generation. And so for us, we have like generations of, like on my dad's side, it's generations of bald eagles. And so that's how, like, I grew up, was knowing that knowledge of bald eagles. And so this is you know, one of the things that you know, for myself, the way we were taught was that you had to know your clan within a 200 and usually 200 to 250 mile radius around what you called home. And so for us, because we're Wissahickon, so it's Prairie Sound, we went as far south as Toronto. That was the furthest away, and then as far north as just around Sudbury. So we, you know, we had different communities that people would stay in and monitor those animals, and we would track them. And so the idea was that we knew how many animals were in that territory. So this is like for our clan. So the idea was the children would take care of the babies, you know, and the youth would take care of the ones their age, and the adults would take care of their age category. And so the idea was that everybody was tracking them, you know, if any of them had any deaths, or, you know, any births, or anything that happened to them, or they would report those things. And so this is important, like you know, living on the land, and this is how we survived, you know, like in our territory. for every one human, there was 5 bears. And, you guys know how much a bear eats, about 30 pounds a day. So you needed to know how many resources that those bears would need, and then how many resources would all the other carnivores need, and then the rest of the animals, and then and then the humans. So that was what we talked about was sustainable management that you needed to know. And so everybody would report their numbers to your clan, and usually those clan meetings were usually held weekly, and then the major meetings were monthly. And if anything had to change, that those changes were implemented. And so this is for us, when we talk about, so everybody would report their numbers. So if you're the moose clan, you reported on moose. If you're the bear clan, you reported on bears. If you're a turtle, you reported on turtles. So the idea was each clan reported. And so that's how we were able to be able to know the animals on the territories. And so this was one of the important aspects to knowing the clan and knowing, for us, the relationships we have to those particular animals. So the other aspect, and this is something that, is, I guess, different. The other, for us, we look at animals that they also gift us spiritually. And so for us, they can help us in a spiritual way. So we have different teachings on this. I'm not going to talk much about this because we are recording, but there are many teachings about this. And so that's something that there's a process to this, and then how one might have a relationship spiritually is different, and different nations have many different teachings on this. The other aspect I wanted to mention as well is, animals are a gift as well, that they provide that friendship and companionship. And so today we call them pets. So for us, there's many teachings on this as well. And so this is for us, where this comes from is mainly looking at our relationships to Mayangan, which is wolves, and our Nemoshits, our dogs, and that's where we talk about it in our legends as to relationships we had. And so for us, that's a very old story that's our stories with the wolves and the dogs go back millions of years. And so this is something that for us today, that you can still see, those relationships continuing today. And now we have other pet friends. So there's cats and other animals, and they can become very close to us, and so we build a relationship to them, and they help us in different ways. So this is another aspect that the animal kingdom can help us with shelter. That a lot of our shelters were made out of animal hides. So sometimes buffalo and moose or caribou and other animals were used in helping with making our shelters. And the other aspect, how animals also help us, is through medicine. So that to us is the other aspect, how animals help us. And so this is, for us, there's again lots of different teachings on this, and so, but I just wanted to mention that for the presentation tonight. And then again, of course, what everybody enjoys is how animals also help us as food. We all eat many varieties, so this is something that I'm very experienced, and for myself, my dad was very creative. I'll say that we ate many very interesting varieties. So it was very neat. So something that I'm very grateful for beef or chicken. But there's other animals that are really good out there. I'll leave it at that for the food. But we have a lot of teachings on feasting, and like there's different protocols, like in regards to food as well. So just another aspect I just wanted to mention for tonight. And this is something, I think is some of the difficulties with our history. And this is something that I think is, I'm not too sure if you guys can actually see that, but it's, those are skulls. And there's hundreds and thousands of skulls, and those are specifically buffalo skulls. And so this is some of the hard things with our history is for us as Indigenous people, the buffalo is an animal that we honored. And this is something that for us, we like, even to this day, like we still honor the buffalo. And we have so many teachings on it, and our relationships to it, and many nations have also their own teachings. But for us, like, even we once had them here in the territory. So sadly, a lot of you have probably heard of buffalo soldiers. Bob Marley even had a song about buffalo soldiers. And so a lot of the Black slaves were brought to the Americas, and they were buffalo soldiers to kill the buffalo. And so they used to say that there used to be millions of buffalo across this country, millions and millions of buffalo. And so the buffalo were killed almost to extinction. I think they killed so many that there was less than 100 that survived. So this is, when we talk about how, Indigenous people were targeted, it just wasn't only our people, but also, our animals were also targeted as well. And so this is, I think some of the sad things when we talk about, animal life. And for us, this is one of the sad things that has occurred. And so now we go through this process of healing, and we're now going through a process of decolonization. And and recognizing, that, we're at a time where we really need to, move forward. And so that's something that we've been really encouraging people to be respectful. Decolonization, I think, is a great idea. It's truly difficult because of colonization and the genocide that has occurred here. Not everybody knows our history, and even our own people don't often know our history. So that's something I try to share with people, to be respectful, that even our own people may not know their history or teachings of who they are. And so that's something I just tell people: be respectful. It's really easy as humans. We want to say that what somebody has said is wrong, and what somebody else says is right. And I try to tell people, no, just be respectful, and it's important to learn. And and then there are so many nations across the Americas, and so just to be respectful of people's teachings are all going to be different. And so even though I'm Ojibwe, you can go to an Ojibwe person down in Minnesota, and a lot of our customs are different. So I'd like to say miigwech for listening, and I'm going to stop sharing and see if I can get my video up. Great. Oh, you gotta unmute.
Thank you. Oh, no, I was just going to say thank you so much for such a wonderful, wonderful talk. I'm sure everyone here can echo my sentiment that was incredible to listen to.